Today is a very important day, and it touches my family, and I think it touches a lot of other families, but it's World Stroke Day. And with us is Jennifer, who is a stroke survivor. How are you doing today, Jennifer?
I'm doing great. How are you?
So, we were talking before we came on that a lot of people think strokes happen to elderly people. It happened to my father in his, late 50s to 60s. And I mentioned he had 3 little ones that, combined a lot. And it's amazing how strong he was getting through these. And there are opportunities to survive. But you were pretty young when you had yours.
Yeah, I was 36 years old, so I'm coming up on my 10-year stroke anniversary, the anniversary of me having my stroke, which is November 16th.
Wow. All right, let's talk about your stroke, because you were saying that people were thinking you were having an anxiety attack, right?
Right. So I was at volleyball tryouts for my oldest daughter when my hands started going numb, and fast forward, I got to urgent care because I was recognizing the symptoms. I'm a social worker by trade, and I got to the hospital urgent care fast. And by that time, my speech had gone. And so I wasn't able to convey what was going on with me. And so when my husband got to the urgent care, they told my husband they thought that I was having an anxiety attack. And if he wanted to, he could take me to the hospital. And my husband's like, something's really wrong. She's curled up in the fetal position here. Please call an ambulance.
Yeah, and then that got you there very quickly, and you said you want to thank that EMT for recognizing that you were having a stroke.
Right. So that EMT also was a stroke survivor. As I think back, I really think that a lot of people think that stroke is something that happened to somebody that's elderly, like 70, 80, 90, etc. So the fact that EMT had a stroke herself and was a younger stroke survivor and recognized that I was having a stroke and actually told the doctor that I needed to get to the hospital really saved my life, because I was able to get a clot buster called TPA, and you can only get that clot buster within the first few hours of having a stroke, your first symptom.
Yeah. What were some of the side effects from having your stroke?
So initially, I was paralyzed completely on my right side. I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, I had to relearn everything. With the TPA aiding, a lot of the physical stuff came back fast, but my speech was really delayed. I had to work very hard on an outpatient basis after I got out of the hospital to regain my speech.
Yeah. Let's talk about how important it is to recognize someone having a stroke. And I know we talked a little bit where I said a friend of mine whose uncle was having small little strokes, but they were calling him, and I have to say, drunk uncle, because he was slurring his words when they were sitting around the table, and they're kind of ignoring it. But you're saying don't ignore that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that I've learned through my strokes journey, because I volunteer a lot, I go into hospitals and meet with stroke survivors. Before, when I lived in another state, I ran a stroke support group. One of the things that is really important is acting fast when you recognize that you're having some symptoms. So if you or a family member recognize this acronym going forward, I'll be very, very happy. The acronym is FAST, and F is for your face. And so if you're noticing any oddities with your face, like facial drooping, drooling, anything going on with like a paralysis in your face. The A is for arm, or your arm. So if you're not able to use your arm, like me, where my arm went numb, it got to the point where I really couldn't even control my shoulder. And then S is for speech, or your speech. If you're having problems conveying what's going on, that's a red flag. I learned later that with stroke, if you're having a stroke, ask the person to stick out their tongue. And if their tongue goes to the side and it doesn't go straight out, chances are you're having some sort of medical issue and you should get to the hospital. And then the last one is T, and that's for time to get to the hospital, because the time that you lose by not getting to the hospital is brain loss. And so the faster you can get to the hospital, the better.
I'll tell you, Jennifer, these are so great information to have, so important things to know. And you want people to continue to learn, especially after this day, but going forward as we start to see family members and start to talk more. How can people find out more about, of course, preventing strokes and also helping those with strokes?
So, the Brain Injury Alliance of Arizona has free resources, stroke support for friends, family members, and actually the survivor. And so they have all their information online at BIAAZ.org.
Perfect. Jennifer, thank you for joining us and congratulations on your anniversary.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well,